I want to look at this issue, this weariness, this tiredness, but from quite a different perspective, one you may have not considered before. So, this came as a revelation out of the book of Samuel, speaking of the nature of Saul and David's relationship. Instead of looking at this as two different people, these are both characteristics, these are both parts of us, of you. Okay, we have a Saul in us and we have a David in us. But I just really want to quickly run down on the story. I know many of you will be familiar with it, but if you aren't, basically, Saul was the existing king of Israel and David was the new emerging king. And after David killed Goliath, Saul became threatened by him and jealous of him. So, what Saul tried to do is he tried to kill him on multiple occasions. And Saul represents is the established identity, and David represents the new that is emerging, which is more authentic to yourself and to God, aligns better with God's will. And the new is starting to emerge and we feel threatened by it and we think, oh my gosh, I can't let that out. I can't express those things. That is going to jeopardize my already established self. It's saying, what in me is emerging that I'm afraid of? What am I trying to control? I felt like what he put on my heart was, when you're younger, when you're growing up, there was things that maybe scared you, or you needed something you didn't have, you didn't get. And so you overcompensated through building these strengths, right? So I'm going to become like this, or I'm going to do this. And that was kind of made you prove to yourself you're worthy, but it also made you kind of feel safe around these wolves or whatever the situation was. So you built these strengths up. Um, and they did help you. They actually helped you to feel safe and kind of keep moving forward. But the Lord is saying now, I'm not asking that of you anymore. You don't need the same tactics to keep yourself safe. You have me, and I'm showing you a new way. So this is why he's saying, like, don't run away, like completely run away from the old, because it it had its place, right? And he understands why you had to build these things that you did. Maybe you couldn't rely on anybody and no one was there in certain ways. So you became very self-reliant. And for so many of you, you have been struggling. You have been grinding, whether that's to do with things in your character that you've tried to uphold, or that's things in your, the natural walking life, where you have just grinned and bared it for so long, and it's led you into such burnout and tiredness and weariness. And the Lord is saying, no more. I prophesied this over you, that you are not going to be sowing into things in these coming seasons that are not aligned with who you truly are, the David coming out in you, where the Lord is showing you what a healthy struggle looks like. Healthy. Emphasize on the healthy, right? I'm not saying that our lives are meant to be easy. Oh, I'm just going to flunk these exams. No, but there is a way. There's a certain path for you where you'll go, we all love a bit of grind. When you actually get down to something and you're like, this is so meaningful to me, and you're like really enduring it. It feels so good, right? When we get into it. So this is not about being lazy. This is not about flunking life out, but there is a struggle he wants you to endure, but it's right for you. Okay? It's not right because of what old mate next to you is saying, what their meaning in life is, or what motivates them, or what their gifts are. He's got something specifically for you, and he wants to show you that, because you are going to actually love it. You're going to love it in the struggle. The whole idea of, even through the hardship of life, even through the struggle, there's joy. It's because you're on your path. It's made for you. So you can, when you move with God in this way, people can look at you and you can end up doing a lot, right? And people are like, you're doing too much. But this is really interesting. I'm not going to get into this too much because it's another topic. But there is energy that's tied to your ego, right? So think of Saul. There's energy that's tied to your ego. So that's an established identity, what's been, right? And then you are so tired because you're working off a little battery, that the ego only has a little battery, but the new self, the self that aligns with God's will, the David coming out in you, has so much more energy. So you could be doing so much, and people are like, wow, you're doing so much stuff. And you're like, it doesn't even feel like much, because you're moving from a place of rest. You're moving from a place that is aligned with God's will, and it feels restful to you. And that's what he wants to bring you into, because he's going to do mighty things for you. Yeah, you think about the things that you've achieved just off that ego energy, and you're like, whoa, I've still done quite a bit. Imagine what you can do with the Holy Spirit behind you. That wind, man, you're just going to soar. I don't know. I don't know what character you've identified with to keep you safe or make you feel secure. I've always got to be the storyteller. If ever I'm in a scene, I'm in an environment and no one's laughing at my jokes or whatever, I feel, I don't know, insecure or something. Or if I'm going out on a night out and no girls give me any attention, it just makes me it's like a dumb evening. And it's like, man, is that where whereas God's saying, I can take you somewhere where you don't have this, help me, this fluctuating worth based on your performance or based on how others receive you. And that's where he wants to take you. And it's so nice that you can be doing things you love and it's feeding you. Like, I have so much joy and so much peace in this. And like, it could be crickets out there. Like, you're getting no gratification from anyone else, but you're like, I love this. And that's what he's going to bring. Okay. That's where he's leading you in this season. And, that's really exciting. Question you can ask yourself is, what is the Saul in me trying to protect? What is the Saul in me trying to protect and prevent from emerging? God he turns everything into good. I know that. And he also can use anything. But there's a new way he's asking us to come into where, we did flunk our past, but, you did stupid stuff. And he thinks, oh, he's actually used that all for good. But now he's like wanting to up the ante a bit. He's like, right, I'm focusing you in a bit more now. We're going to do it a different way to what you've done it in the past. You're safe with me. You know that I will go before you. I'm behind you. I walk beside you, and I will show you the way. And so you start to think, okay, I've got to align with that and come away from this thing of he'll use everything for good, all this bad, all these years where it's like, no, like clue in a bit more, right? So a couple more questions I think, you could note down or just muse over when it comes to this is, if no one could judge me or have an opinion about my choice, what would I do? That's scary, okay? Because we don't like to. This is really interesting. This is what came out when I was thinking about this, is we think in a certain way because of what we feel is safe. So we'll be thinking this sort of way, and anything outside of that, we're like, well, that's too much. And so we close off and we go back this way. So we're like, these are my decisions, but it's based off the fact that we were too scared to look over there. You know what I mean? But don't be afraid of your thoughts, okay? Your thoughts can die. They don't need to turn into an action. But sometimes he wants us to just open up that window a little bit and look over there. What's the other alternative? Because then we can invite his truth in. And even if you continue walking down the same path that you're on, it's now got new meaning to it because you've opened up to God. You've allowed to speak in, not just inside the box, right? You're like, what else is he wanting to say about this? And does he have a different perspective for me? And so you move forward with new meaning, and you're not predicating your decisions off fear, off what are people going to think, or this is how I make myself feel worthy. Um, Because this is crazy, and I think we all do this. So we can take something, let's just say I'm gonna make an example. You were always a nervous public speaker. You know, when you're young and you got to do speeches and stuff, and like people get shy. Say you were someone, you went so bright in the face when you had to do this, and you'd go so red, and your neck would go all patchy, and you'd get so nervous, and you'd stutter, and you would like speak too fast or speak too quiet, and people would kind of make fun of you for it, right? And so you're like super insecure about like public speaking and stuff. And then it comes up, like, oh yeah, you sucked at that or something. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, no, I'm gonna overcome this. And so what you do is then you go out and you really work at this, and you push yourself and you strive in this way to overcome it. And then people start being like, oh, like listening to you, taking knowledge, and it feels good, right? You're like, oh, yep, that feels good. So you keep doing that. And so you establish a gift or a skill, but it's based off when you get that positive feedback loop, it feels really good. And it creates almost an heightened emotional experience. But people get addicted to this, and their worth fluctuates with their performance. So then when, you might be in a meeting and you have to talk about something, and everyone's like, what, not listening. And so once again, you think, oh, like that's, you go back to that same person who, was no good at doing those speeches in school that went all bright red in the face. And so you have this kind of like up and down of your worth based off the strength or the skill that you've established to make yourself feel that way. And when people give you that positive feedback loop, it like feeds you. I'll try and rattle off a couple of other things. Maybe people didn't like you, people didn't pay you any attention, so you feel insecure about like not having many friends or something. And so what you do is when you go around, you're like over the top, and you try to make everybody your friend, and you act really friendly, and you try to be really almost like too much, right? And some people might take to it, and so they might be like, yeah, I'll give you my number and we can go have coffee or something. And then you get a real high out of it. But then when it doesn't happen and no one's paying you attention, you get low. And so this is where we build these things up to protect ourselves and make us feel good. But God's saying, nah, I've got a different way. Like, I don't need you to do that. And it's really a blessing when you start to discover these things about yourself. And I'll just give an example for me. I remember when God was calling me into a relationship with him and to work out who I truly was I remember I'd go out and I thought I looked good, right? And this went on for about a year where I literally think people were like blind. It was like I wasn't even there. And I was so insecure about it. I was like, why can't anyone see me? Why is no one paying me attention? And I was like, what the heck? This is so weird. But it was such a blessing to, and if this is you, you might think, I'm going to try harder. Like, I'm going to make myself look a certain way and push harder and strive harder to get people's attentions. I'm going to do all these things, be talking to people all the time and make myself feel good. But I could feel that this was happening because he was trying to pull me away. He was like, I don't want you to feel comfortable here and them give you the gratification, because then you won't come to me. And so it's a blessing. He's calling you higher. He's calling you to something else. And you will have favor with man in the areas that is authentic to you, that he wants. You will. But don't push harder because something isn't happening that's making you feel like good. Don't force it. He wants you to move, even when these things are your gifts. Like, maybe you're naturally a really funny person, maybe you're a really good storyteller, but he wants you to move in it from a place of like, not that you need it to make you feel good. This is a massive invitation, guys, that I feel that the Lord is laying on your heart today. This is a massive invitation to like not run from the David that is trying to emerge within you. And, Saul in you is going to be like, feel squirmish and hate that this thing is coming up, but just like David didn't kill Saul when he had the chance, you don't need to kill your old identity in this really nasty way, or run from it. Like, let there be that grappling, let there be that little bit of a fight, but give David the space, give your new self the space for expression, right? And just tell old mate to pipe down. I hope this word has blessed you. Might be a little bit of a longer one, but yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of, I don't know, I feel like this is going to refresh a lot of people's hearts and help you approach, this tiredness that you have with a new lens. Yeah, bless you. I hope you have a great week, whatever you're getting up to. If this word has blessed you at all, there's ways to sow down below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you want to see more videos from me. But love and blessings. Catch you on the next one. Bye.